Hey everybody! We're celebrating today. Can you guess what today is? Today is my 1-year anniversary of being on YouTube. January 20th, 2020, I started my YouTube channel officially. That was my first video. And I believe that I have come quite a way since then. I'm celebrating today with some tiramisu, which is my favorite. And I decided to do that instead of a cupcake. So why don't you grab yourselves a snack, get yourself a drink and a comfy chair. We'll meet over at the craft table and we will talk about what I've learned this last year and some of my goals and hopes for the new year. All right, see you right after this. Okay, let's get started. While I am talking to you today, I'm just going to work on sorting some ephemera packs that I got in my stocking and for Christmas gifts. Some of these are duplicates and I would rather sort once and then put them all away at one time. So you're going to see duplicates. But anyway, it won't be exciting to watch, so maybe this is a good video to craft to and just listen to me talk. And we're just going to talk about what we're celebrating. First, I want to show you the strips that I did in last week's video using the fabrics that were just hideous, and I'll show you how they turned out now that these have been sewn. The shorter strips, I did 2 lines of sewing, as you can see there. So on the back side, that's how it looks. I did that, and then on the really long strips, I just zigzagged down the middle. But this is how they turned out. When I was editing the video through the camera, they actually look a lot cuter than they do up close in person. It just gave me a different view of them. And I was able to make 3 of these long strips, really long. It's the width of a twin size sheet, whatever that is. So I have 3 that are that length and then 2 of those shorter ones. So that's how those turned out. The other thing I wanted to show you, I don't know if you can tell the difference in the lighting. I got a new lamp for Christmas and I want to show you. This is so cool. Now I did put it on my Amazon wish list. But what I like about it, well, first of all, it's a brighter daylight, so I think it'll be better for filming and photographing for my Etsy shop. And it's adjustable. You can make it dimmer or brighter, so reduce the amount of light. It also has these adjustments right here on this button to make it bright light or a little more golden, so you can adjust it for reading or depending on how bright you want, what you're working on. I have noticed it really keeps me jazzed and awake at night. So the arm swivels, ta-da, like that, and then it of course plugs in, but on the back, the other thing I really liked about this is that it has this charging port on the back. So you can charge your phone and things while you're working. I'm pretty excited. This arm here adjusts up and down like that. So, isn't that cool? I'm so excited. Okay, let me put you back on the stand. All right, so I'm going to talk while I sort, and then after I've got them sorted, I'm going to put them in my little ephemera pouches here that I have. So looking back on my first year on YouTube, what have I learned? Well, let's talk about some facts first. Facts. First video aired on January 20th, 2020, and then my second one the same week was for the Valentine packs, which incidentally, I still have some in my store, so go check that out. Go check out that video, head to my Etsy shop. Links are at the top of this page in the banner, and I can link it at the end of the video. They're in the description box, yada yada, all the things. My goal when I started last year was 1 video per week so that I could remain consistent, and I have met that goal. I actually have done 61 videos, so I was very surprised. Sometimes that meant I took advantage of an opportunity that popped up I won a giveaway, so I did a video about that. I did the subby challenge because I was trying to grow. Just doing thrift hauls and trying to remain relevant. And sometimes I meant I did more than one a week. The breakdown of the videos, I had 15 that were general, kind of informative on different topics like organizing and decluttering, responding to the pandemic, those kinds of things. 16 of them were show and tell, where I was showing different things. 7 were thrift hauls, just thrifting. 4 of those were tutorials, or what I call faux-torials, because, well, I can't teach, so I call them faux-torials because I'm trying to teach. And hopefully you get something out of that. Oh, here's these girls that, in the Tim Holtz paper dolls. Or at least I recognize her. She was, cool. Hello, girls. Anyway. Let's see, I did my Currently Creating series in the fall. I did 8 flip-throughs for journals, and then 5 for my subby challenge, and I think that all comes to 61. My watch time and views, oh dear, I forgot to go look up those statistics. I was going to check right before I did this video, and I forgot. Let's see, next. Let's see, what were my accomplishments during this time? My accomplishments were, well, first of all, that I actually started. That was a big one. I started. So that was, it took me 2 years to be convinced that I should do that and that I really wanted to do that, but I did, and here we are a year later. I started at 0 subbies, which everyone does, and at first I got, I believe, 17, kind of right off the bat, and then it just sat there for a while. It kind of started very slowly, a little bit at a time, you know, to increase. Then I got to around 47, it kind of just sat there for a bit, and then all of a sudden, boop, it went to 51. So when it got close to the 50, I began to prepare for my subby challenge. So I did the subby challenge, and I met some new folks and made some new friends, and that helped me grow to 100, which was great. And then I ended the year at 198 subbies, which was exciting because truthfully, you know, it's kind of a crapshoot. You're working hard, and when you don't see growth right off the bat, it can be discouraging. But I'm so excited that we actually got to 198 subbies on December 31st at midnight. That's what I have. And now I have, today, the day of the filming, I have 222, and they were all legitimate subbies. Sometimes YouTube takes them away, and I can only figure that it's because that maybe it was a bot or something that it takes away, so I don't know. Of the 198 subbies, and actually of the total that I have even today, approximately 25% of those were gained between December 1st to January 1st. So they've all come in the last month, so that's pretty amazing to me. I'm very excited about that. I learned new technology skills this year. I learned how to navigate the YouTube system and how all that works. And prior to that, I had been doing a lot of research on just how to operate the channel, what's expected. So that was a big learning curve there. But then I learned how to navigate, how to upload a video, those kinds of things. And then I also learned how to edit on an iPhone. And I learned how to do voiceovers, Zoom, how to speed up the playback. And I also learned Canva, which is a system online to make the thumbnails and how to put those in. So there was a lot to learn. It's not always been easy. So anyway, it just, after a while, felt like my brain was going to explode. One of the changes that I didn't write down, but I wanted to note, was the change in equipment. As I went along, I kind of improved my equipment a little bit. When I very first started, and when I was on Facebook doing these, I filmed with an actual camera, and then that has kind of just gotten old and became very obvious that I needed to get something a little bit better. So then I purchased well, I didn't actually purchase it. I purchased it for my daughter, the Samsung. And then when she bought herself a new phone, then I got her hand-me-down Samsung Galaxy. So I was initially filming on that. And then I upgraded just a few months later. My husband got a new job and they gave him the new iPhone 11 when that came out. So then I got his hand-me-down iPhone 8. So my technology has been slowly improving over the course of the last year. And then I got these filming arms, and now I've got my new lamp. So, you know, it's little steps at a time, but they all add up. I didn't want to go out and just purchase all new equipment. It didn't make sense. If, you know, it needs to fund itself and be reasonable and a logical progression, not just go break the bank on tons of new equipment and then maybe never actually accomplish anything. So that's a test, you know. Just, you don't want to get ahead of yourself. If you're starting a new channel, you want to be sure that you're not overextending yourself. Further accomplishments, I hosted a Christmas in July sale, which was really fun. And the reason for that was because I actually had some items that I had just been putting on hold for a while. So they've just been sitting in my drawer. 2019, I did not get a lot done as far as creating, but we had a lot of things going on personally in our personal home life. Not bad things, just a lot of activity. So we needed to address those. So I didn't have a lot of time to create in 2019. I had a lot of time to create in 2018, and so in 2020 I finally got those things out there. So that was nice to be able to do. I also hosted the Subby Challenge and grew to 100 during the month of August, from about 51 to, well, I didn't quite make the 100. I think I made it to like 95. And then shortly thereafter, it was beginning of September-ish, and then I hit the 100, and then I did notice a slight increase in whether or not my videos were showing up and where they were showing up. So then it was kind of slow and steady. And then at the beginning of December, I think it was at like 160 some people, and then it just went crazy there. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed because it's a lot, you know, to manage a channel, try to do the Instagram thing, try to record, edit, upload. It's all little bits and pieces, and they do take time. So that's why at one point finally I was like, okay, my brain just needs to rest and stop learning new things. So I'm very thankful. I welcome all of you. I'm thrilled that you're here, and I do appreciate every single one of you who joined me along the way in this last year and has helped make this channel grow. Oh, and then one more accomplishment was that I learned about how to record an intro video for your channel. That's one of the things that they recommend when you're trying to do a channel, is that you have kind of your little signature things that you do. You know how at the beginning on TV shows they always have that little bump, what they call the bump, the trailer, that is just the introduction every time. So that adds consistency. So I was able to get that recorded and spliced and edited. Let's see, where am I? And so you will see that the very first couple of videos, I believe, did not have that. And then after that, I got it all put together. That was based around in 2019 when we had to take the whole upstairs apart to get new carpet. So I filmed the intro in 2 stages, when it was empty and then when it was put back together. But that was like a month-long process just to do that. So then it took me time to get it all edited and put together. Those were my accomplishments. Personal achievements in the year. I finished several journals and sold and featured several journals that I have had on the back burner for a long time. If you watch the videos, I tell you, I've had I've had this sitting in my drawer for a while, so I'm glad to get it out. So a lot of those, it was nice to get those out and into the world where they belong so that they could find their new person and go home with them. You can't tell it from this video, but I have been practicing my public speaking skills. It's not easy. I feel like when the camera goes on, my brain just disengages completely and it evaporates. It's gone. So that requires me to do a lot of editing. I've been really trying to focus on having a complete thought pattern, complete sentence structure, and making it easy for you guys to understand what I'm talking about. That's partly why I did some of the voiceovers and stuff, because when I am creating or when I'm doing, my brain doesn't think about what I'm trying to say. My brain's thinking on the task in front of me and not on my words. So that has been something that I have worked on. It's a challenge, and I will continue to work on. I don't know if I was always this bad, but I had a job for a few years that was very high pressure, very intense, and I got interrupted literally every 11 seconds. I timed it, and it was very emotionally exhausting because of the environment where I worked and just how high pressure it always was. Not the job itself, but the people that we serviced. It took a lot out of me, and I think it took a toll on my ability to concentrate, which is why I really appreciate being able to get back in and craft, because it helps me to focus now, which for a long time I just couldn't do that. So I think that comes out sometimes in my speech too, because I got used to being interrupted, and I jokingly say that my job made me ADD, but it really did. It made it so I couldn't start a task and finish it to completion. I was constantly having to stop and readjust, so that still comes out in my speech. Let's see. I made a lot of new friends on YouTube and Instagram, and then I have hopefully cemented some of my existing friendships with people here in the area, because we have enjoyed each other and our common love for crafting. So I don't need to separate big butterflies from little butterflies. They just are all butterflies. There we go. I'm learning to find my own style or voice, so to speak, and to be able to relate or be more comfortable about having a public forum, finding my own voice, finding what's important to say, learning not to overshare or undershare. It's a balance. It's tricky. I had to be willing to face potential criticism, which I haven't had too many negative comments really, which is nice. Thank you. I have a fragile ego. So, you know, if it's a constructive comment, I will leave it out there, but if it's just nasty, I won't. However, I haven't really had anything that qualifies as terrible, awful. I'm also trying to get more comfortable with filming in public, which is partly my personality. I just don't want to be out there like feeling like everybody's staring at me or like I'm in the way. So I do struggle with that, but I've gotten a little more comfortable finding ways that I can film without being obnoxious to the other people around me or invading their privacy. So that will continue to be something that I work on, a goal, I guess. I'm probably never going to be one of those who just pushes past everybody in line and gets to the front and just films and takes all the pictures and gets in everybody's way. I'm not going to be that person. But filming in public, the thrift store hauls, and those kinds of things, I've figured out some tricks about how to do that. So I'm very, very happy with that. I still have a ways to go on that, but that has been something I've had to learn and accomplish. Looking forward, what can we look forward to this year? 2021, what can you expect from me? I'm going to have more journals coming. Some are ideas that I've had in the back of my mind for a while, as discussed in last week's video about upcoming projects, and some are things that I started but haven't finished yet. So those will all be coming along. Then I'm going to have more thrift hauls for the coming year. Not as many as this last year though. Now this last year, of course, as we know, 2020 derailed everybody's plans and expectations. So I didn't really go into this expecting to have a lot of thrift hauls. I don't do a lot of thrifting per se. You wouldn't know it by watching my channel this last year. But I had, like I said, 5 thrift hauls this last year, but partly because it was a good year to go thrifting. Everybody was cleaning out due to being isolated and staying at home. So there were lots of good things, better than other times when you go out. And that was just something I could do to get out of the house, and that was relatively safe. you know, I wouldn't necessarily get sick and you could still stay distant. So I can't say that I'll have as many thrift hauls this year as I did last year, but I will still have some. What I am going to focus on is using up all these supplies and books and things that I have found. And I found so many good things this year that I really want to be a good steward and use those up. So that's one of my focuses. I will do a few more photorials, trying to teach you something in my own terrible way. I'm just not good at it. Anyway, but that's not going to stop me. When I have an idea, I will show you what I'm working on and how to do it, and you all can just bear with my lack of teaching skill. Another good reason why I started doing those voiceovers, because I think it helped me to create and then come back and explain, and it gave you better continuity in my mind. So yeah, I'm going to be working on using things up, which I've already been doing. I'm very proud of myself. Using up quite a few things and getting a lot of stuff off of my desk, as you've seen in the last couple of weeks. Let's see, and then I'm going to continue with weekly uploads because that's manageable for me. I'm going to continue refining my style and my speaking ability and trying to figure out my personality on camera. Still have a ways to go, feeling 100% comfortable on film, but it's a learning process. My goal by year end, Lord willing, is to reach the 1,000 subbies and 4,000 hours of watch time. You have to do that in 12 months in the same calendar year. So that would be my goal for 2021. Reach that 1,000 subbies and 4,000 hours of watch time by December 31st of 2021. What that does is allows me to have some control over the ad situation, as I discussed also a video or two ago. And it will also help me to continue building community. Another goal is that I will be continuing to work on supporting, encouraging each other and all of you, building a community where we can support and encourage each other. My very first video talks about that because that is very important to me, to just be people who uplift instead of tearing down. It takes more effort and thought to be considerate and kind than it does to just rip into somebody. That's easy to do, but it leaves scars. So we're gonna focus on building each other up. I used to do this exercise with my kids. We're going down a rabbit trail here, but I used to do this exercise with my kids based on something that the youth pastor had said long ago. And that was that it takes 5 positive comments to negate the effect of a negative comment. So one negative comment requires at least 5 positives to reinforce self-worth. I used to make my kids stop. They started really sniping at each other, and they had to say 5 positive things that they appreciated about each other that weren't just, I like your shirt, I like your hair. They had to be something of substance. So that's why we want to have more creativity and support here instead of people who tear down. And I want to remain true to that mission. Lastly, I maybe will film some scrapbooking segments. My other goal, when I quit work 8 years ago in June, I had a lot of goals, and a lot of them didn't get met because of just things that happened in our life. But one of those goals was to get scrapbooks caught up for my kids, and I have barely touched them. So I may or may not film some of my scrapbooking as I'm working on it, but I have a goal to really work on that over the next year or two, because honestly, it's been 8 years, and if I had actually started, I could have been done by now. So that's a sobering thought. So if you absolutely don't want to see that, please tell me right off the bat if that would just bore you to tears. But it is an element. It's the scrapbooking that brought me to the junk journaling, and there are elements in both that cross over and you use. So that's why I thought maybe it might be of some interest. I've done as much as I can here with this. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. And I'll finish putting these away off camera. Let me state again, I cannot believe how incredibly blessed I am that I even got to 200 and some odd subbies today, because truly when I started last year, I didn't even know if I could finish the year with 50. I really didn't. So I'm blown away by your support and your encouragement. I love it when you comment. I read all my comments. I respond to all of my comments, and I'm just thrilled to death that you're here and that you want to join along and have some fun here on my channel with me. Today's quote for the day, I heard this week on the radio, and it says, "There's no shortcut to any place that's worth going." I don't know who they attributed it to. I forgot to look that up as well, but there is no shortcut to any place that's worth going. So I want to say thank you, because you made it worth all of the hard work and effort this year, and I'm committed to continuing. I'm really going to focus in my efforts on my YouTube and my Etsy shop, as well as some personal goals. I may or may not spend some time this year scaling back on Instagram and Facebook. I don't feel like those have a lot of support. I kind of feel like Facebook is easy because you can cross-post your Instagram posts, but that's about it. There's really nobody looking for me out there, and I started uploading videos there originally because it was low-key, but it's so low-key that it does not actually help me. I still am doing the Instagram posts. They're only once a week, and they let you know that the video's out. Occasionally, if there's something worth documenting in my life, I throw it out there. I'm still debating whether or not it's worth the time investment that I spend on it, making thumbnails and posts and all of that, or just stick with what I've got so far, or maybe not continue to upload in 2021. So those are some maybes, but I'd rather be creating. I still have housework and family responsibilities, and I'm working on balancing that this year. But there is no shortcut to any place that's worth going, and I want to go on YouTube, and I want to go on my Etsy shop. I want YouTube to be the place where I work on those things and share those projects with you, and then Etsy is just the means to get them out there to people, but not my main focus. It's a bit of a ramble here at the end, but I, once again, just thank you, thank you, thank you. Looking forward to a positive and happy 2021. Much better things to come. Vaccines out there, changeover in leadership where we can get a leader who leads and doesn't divide. We're going to let that rest right there. But just for me personally, really looking forward to where this goes in the next 12 months. So love you all. Catch you in the next video. And until next week, be inspired and do something creative today. Bye-bye.